for Queen and Colony. So I'm joined here by the infamous Rich from Antics, and I have been dying to get this interview. So did you enjoy the event?
I had a really good time.
Yeah?
I had a really good time. I love speaking to the customers. I love seeing the old faces. We had so many new faces this year.
Yes, it was brilliant.
We had new talkers in, and they did a fantastic job. Wendy, she's done so much in a year.
Yeah.
And she really is the highlight of people's visit.
I love her chats from, as I was saying, from the progression of the first year, where she was sort of just coming into it,
Yeah.
to the third year. It's absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. Like, she's been to Borneo and studied all the ants, and she's come back with all the pictures and the videos. Yeah, it was just so incredible to watch.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had a videoed it. Maybe next year you should get videos of
next year you can video everything.
Yeah,
and then we can really put out to the world exactly what happens.
Yeah.
You can get
I think as well, just for the educational aspect of it. I mean, it's one of the things everyone knows I love. I try to sort of educate myself, and if I can help educate others, I think that's a really big thing, because what do you have about knowledge?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a big thing for
and
me.
even today, the first Sunday of AntCon ever, and I know it's only a half day, but we had a really good turnout. I was amazed how many people came back. And we had Emily from the Bug Farm doing fungus and ants, the mutual relationship there. And that was great fun. She was brilliant. It's overall, I think everybody's gone away, they've made a new friend, and they've learned something new.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's what AntCon for me is about.
I have to ask, so where did the idea of AntCon come from for you? So how did it come about?
AntCon originally, the initial conversation about AntCon happened when Sid came down and collected his leaf cutters from us. And we were chatting, and we said how nice it is for us to chat like this. And I had an idea then that wouldn't it be nice if I could chat like this to my customers? So back then, of course, we didn't produce any nests or anything. And I said to Sid, if hypothetically I create an event, would you come and sell some nests so that people can pick everything up in one place? And he said, yeah, he would love to do that. So the AntCon seed was planted.
Yeah.
And I think it took me 2 months, maybe 3, to sort of plan and get it all together. And then, boom, the AntCon story had started.
Yeah.
And how from little acorns has
I was going to say, you must be proud of how it's
because
grown.
you remember the first year, it was only the main building. We had squashed it in what is now my office right here. We had squashed as many seats as we could possibly fit in here.
I remember, yeah. This was this the relaxation room?
No, the first year this was full of seats.
It was, this was the speaker room, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yes, that's correct.
The other speaker room was the control room downstairs, and where our production room is with the printers and laser cutter, that was where Sid's little shop was.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've just expanded out through the escape room now. And
I must ask, are you starting to get a bit worried that the event is going to outgrow the location?
It can't outgrow the location, because the only way it would outgrow it has outgrown the location, because when you sell out your tickets in 2 or 3 days, and if I did a search in my emails, I'd have hundreds upon hundreds of emails of people asking for tickets. So it has outgrown. Like, it could have been a 500-person event if we had the space. Yeah. But where's the charm in that?
It's true.
And then this is the biggest debate. The only way I think AntCon can grow in numbers, we've got to remember now, it's a customer appreciation event. It's a thank you to customers, and you've got to have a bit of exclusivity with that.
Yeah.
And the charm of AntCon is people coming around our business, seeing how we work. They can see where we feed their ants and how we make their nests. And it's homely.
Yeah.
And if we just went to a big empty building, I think it would lose that charm.
I agree.
So
I actually agree.
The only way AntCon can really grow is if Antics bought a new premises that was bigger and more laid out for it. Now, I do have somewhere in mind, but it depends on whether they accept the lease or not.
Keep an eye.
But I am currently looking at a 9,000 square foot property.
Wow.
And we'd open a second escape room there, which could be converted. But it's got a grand hall in the building. It's an old social club and a rugby club. So, I am actively, whether it's this one or something else, I am actively looking for the right bargain for Antics to move to and expand to.
Yeah.
but I think that's the only way we can expand AntCon.
I agree.
We need to do something. We need to do something to make it more fair, so that, you know, with the exception of the founders who were here for the first year, that tickets go out more fairly to give more people a chance. Maybe doing it closer to the event so that you know, all the customers that happen in the year can come. But right now, I think 140 is our cap for numbers.
Yeah,
I'd even be convinced to do a 140 on Saturday, make it 1-day event, and do a complete repeat on the Sunday. And then we got 280 people living it for the first time. But yeah, I think it's stuck here.
Well, you never know, 2025.
So much can happen in a year.
I know.
Look at AntCon this year to last year. I know. So much has changed. And the business has changed. We're not the same company we were a year ago, 2 years ago, or even 5 years ago. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows next year?
One thing I have always admired about you is your absolute passion and your meticulousness of actually caring for and the customers, sort of, or for myself anyway. It's almost like you feel your passion when you come here.
I hope so.
You know, it really, this place has such a charm. I really think it does. And sort of your setups are incredible. What the ideas you come up with are just so out there on displays.
I love this job. I love what we do, and I love who we help, and I love the people we teach. You know, ant keeping is never something that's going to make you loaded. But it's something you can really put your heart into.
I think it's a true community sort of hobby. So I think for anything to grow and survive, it has to be with that ethos.
Yeah.
So
and the last 2 days we've had 140 customers who have made the trip from all over Europe to come together and just talk about ants.
I know that's
so wonderful, isn't it? When
it's almost a shame you have to wait a year for it, but.
Well, this year, of course, we're having our homecoming events as well. So that won't include the escape room side, but we'll be utilising Antics side. And each homecoming event, there'll be a theme to it. There'll be an underlying theme, so an activity or a talk or something. And they're just mini half-day events to keep people going through the year. So we're trialling those this year every couple of months, just to see, for the people that need more Antics in their life, to give them a little something with the homecoming. But yeah, the AntCon will be the big one every year, I think. It's just a part of our DNA now, isn't it? How many times do you think throughout the year, okay, AntCon's coming up? But
literally, my calendar's built on trying to make sure I can be here.
It's brilliant. So, we just live our lives by it now. And what the one thing I love about it is like I say, it's to thank those customers, and like when you come into the office there, and Harrison and I are sitting there, we're like, okay, well, we didn't make money this year. It doesn't stop me doing it, because that, to me, that's an investment into the community that's needed. And I get so many people. There was a comment on Facebook that was like, these guys aren't using their grey matter here. You know, they need to expand it. And I politely reminded them what AntCon is. And what it represents, and it's so much more than making money, getting loads of traders in to exploit the visitors as much as you can. This isn't about that. There's people that come that don't spend a penny, and they're not judged for it. You know, it's about that community bond. And
it is. I mean, it is a very welcoming convention, no matter who you are. If you're just someone who's managed to get a ticket off the street, never kept ants, there was a few brand new ant keepers who just bought their first colonies here,
and looking so many people I don't know today. People just coming up and they're hugging you, and that's the homely vibe here. You know, you don't just say goodbye; you do it with a hug, and it's really lovely.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about, because I saw the trophy come out, which was really cool. Can you explain a little bit more about the concierge memberships?
Okay, so the people that are crazy, and they are crazy, to all of you, PJ, Jake, William, and everybody else, when you hit £1,500 spend on our store, you get put into a tier of customers. So we've got a membership tier. It's free, it doesn't cost them anything, but they get a discount code for life, they get guaranteed admittance to events, they also get a perk every anniversary of the day they become a concierge member, and did I say they get discounts? Yeah, they get discounts. Whenever we launch a new product, they trial it for free and give us feedback. And they also get to choose colonies 2 weeks before they even go online. So they know what's coming in on orders and they can hold them for up to a month. So it's all these like little perks as a thank you for being the best of the customers that we have. You know, they've invested the most into us. And
I mean, it's what I was saying, as I've noticed about you with your ethos. It's very much like you're very happy to sort of give back.
Yeah,
so I mean, it's not just I just want to take. It's very much like I really appreciate.
I appreciate
your customers,
because at the end of the day, they're investing in us, in our dream, and they see potential in Antics as a brand, and everyone that bought a ticket for AntCon sees that potential. So we like to give back for that. I think it's so important to recognise and appreciate and just be humble for a little bit.
Yeah.
And sit down and say, the reason I'm feeding my kid tonight is because these people believe in me. So what you saw me present to William was his 1 year anniversary of becoming concierge.
Oh wow.
So he's 1 year in, and we made him a nice trophy as a memento to mark the occasion of him being a year into concierge.
I thought that was a really nice touch to AntCon as well. So it was really nice. He was beaming from
he's so happy
ear to ear,
because he knew he was getting something for his 1 year, but he didn't know what. And of course, all the other concierge members that have hit 1 year, Jake, PJ, and Baker, they've all had theirs, but nobody shared what it is in the concierge chat. So although everybody knows they've had something, they haven't disclosed what they've had, and so it was a complete surprise to him. And he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he was absolutely lovely.
Yeah, he was so happy, wasn't he?
I was going to ask.
If I should be looking here.
Yeah, you can look. I look everywhere, but
I look very shifty in interviews. So
it's the same with me. Don't worry, I'm the same. I was going to ask: are you able to talk about the conservation projects you've got going on and the educational stuff that you have?
So this year is a big move for us into conservation. We're allocating 20% of revenue into our projects. And the idea is that 20% of everything we earn goes back into educating both kids, schools, and saving something. So this year, the room downstairs that used to be our packing room, that's now the relax room, all of the black chairs are going to fill it, and we're going to have a big screen on the wall where schools can come, they can learn about ants, and we can show them colonies firsthand. So we're going to focus a lot on that, because our free colonies for school scheme is currently taking up about 3% of our revenues, maybe. And any school in the country can approach us. We send them.
So it's not just Wales.
No. They're all over the UK.
Okay.
But then what happens is these colonies are going out to schools, and all of these students are loving ants. They're learning about them. They're growing them in their classrooms,
and hopefully joining the hobby. Next generation.
I think we can attribute a good amount of our sales to this scheme. But the teachers approach us and say, "Is there somewhere? How can we learn?" So I do a lot of Zoom meetings and things, and it's like memorabilia downstairs where the students send thank yous. But now we'll have a place for them to come and to learn and to visit the ants and see them firsthand. So that's going to take up a bit of our time for 2024. But obviously the big scheme is starting this year, the big conservation project with Wendy. So we've got Wendy Harris, Professor Wendy from Swansea Uni.
Incredible speaker.
She's the highlight for a lot of people. But yeah, we've got her. And we've got some key people. We've got experts in moss, birds, insects, even rodents coming.
The support is about sort of the ecological side of it as well.
And the project we're doing is touching every aspect of entomology and ecology and conservation. And the idea is that in the plantations across Wales, where trees have been planted after they were last culled for wood, what we're doing is we're reintroducing Holleufer, which is no longer there. And in turn, all of the species, because they're keystone, all of the species that are now extinct in the area should hopefully return within a few years.
Yeah.
So we've highlighted 2 or 3 woodlands where we've got the most time, where I think we're still 60 years away from the next harvest in one, and 80 in another. And we're going to grow colonies here, and this is funded by the Welsh Government. We're going to grow colonies here, and we're going to release them into the wild. They're going to be cordoned. It's going to be safe. We're going to have to visit them weekly, but we'll have.
So they'll technically be under a protected site.
Yes, so they'll be protected for the first year, and then it's up to them to do what they want. So we're growing them here for 12 months, then we'll release them protected for 12 months, and then it's up to them. So we'll have armies of people, and we'll have dissertations being written for university students across all sectors of wildlife.
That is incredible.
And hopefully we can get Antics' name down in the books for doing something for our country.
Certainly, I mean it's a great scope to grow within, because it essentially is giving back to nature, which gave us ants in the first place, which Rufa hold an incredibly important role in nature. They take parasites off of birds, they sterilize areas.
And the species of birds that only feed on them.
Yeah.
It's incredible. We've opened a can of worms, because with Wendy and I was started off as just a little talk about how it would be cool to bring Rufa back, has turned into this monster with 18 or 19 people all involved in this now.
Yeah.
We've got one of the leading conservation experts who's writing the report for our funding, and it's this huge monster. It's just so amazing.
Would you say, in a way, all of that's come from AntCon?
It all came from AntCon. Yeah. Every little bit came from AntCon, because I approached Wendy because of to speak at AntCon.
Yeah.
She replied to my email and said, I'll be there. And now we've got this such beautiful friendship with her. And, I owe her a favour now for coming. And every year I go to the science festival, I take the ants, I take displays.
Yeah.
And, I stand alongside her and her students and help her once a year. And now we've got this real budding friendship, all because of these projects.
That's incredible.
All because of AntCon.
I have to ask.
And Professor Rich as well. He was stuck in Florida this year, but he's
next year maybe.
Yeah, next year.
If there's sort of a teacher watching, or someone from an education establishment who is interested in getting in contact with you to sort of set up a colony to teach their students, how would they do that?
So all you literally have to do is visit our site, antantics.wales. You scroll to the bottom of the page, and there's a big thing that says Free Colonies for Schools scheme. You just click on that, there's a contact form, and I'll send you an email with everything you need to know. And it's really that simple. The basic information is on the web page, and you just use that form on there to contact us.
So if anyone's watching, you know the man to speak to if you want to educate your students.
We supply you with the setup, the colony, and then we send you the sugars every month. All you literally need to do is find a source of protein. But everything else, even when schools break up, a lot of the time the kids take them home with them as their project. But if that wasn't possible through the summer or something, the schools tend to send the colonies back to us. We look after them, we ship them back out. We really work with the schools to teach them about ants.
I think I've got a question that the viewers might want to know.
Okay.
What's your personal favourite ant species?
It's a toss-up. There's 2.
Okay.
And I've said it so many times. Everybody who knows me knows the Urinarius is close to my heart.
Yeah.
That's the one I bought when my son was born. And seeing that colony grow and establish is like watching my little kid running around.
Yeah, it just brings all that fatherly emotions.
I'm paternally affected by that colony. Yeah. If something happened, I think I'd break.
Yeah, no, it would be heartbreaking.
But other than them, the Ossophylla have to be. I've had them from founding. We put them in the Weaver 6 we designed for them. Every customer who's had them in a Weaver 6, they've lived.
It's a very traditional style setup, from what I understand, on true Weaver ants being founded. In Asia, so.
It's mimicked it perfectly. And now they've just weaved a fake plant together all on their own.
Oh, that's
and the
amazing.
queen, have you seen it?
Yes, it's downstairs. Yes, I've seen it.
And the queen is now in the fake plant. I love that colony. They sat on my office side for so long, but until they were too good, I felt selfish having them to myself.
So they had to put them out on display.
They had to go down.
There was a massive hit over AntCon. I saw a lot of people sort of watching.
People are fascinated because we're not used to seeing them in captivity like that, and we're not used to seeing them doing so well and so active. And of course, the Geminata are little sods, but they're lovely too.
Are you nervous about them growing?
No, I'm not. There's only one condition of keeping them, and the law says you can't release non-natives into the wild, and you have to have a way to prevent it. So the very fact we keep CO2 extinguishers right by them is peace of mind that if ever it was to go really bad, we're not going to be imprisoned for it.
Of course.
Obviously, it would never come to that. We keep on top of the barrier. We look at the barrier every day. We're keeping them contained. I know Hood thinks we're never going to do it, but we're controlling them now.
Well, me and Hood have very different opinions on Solenopsis. I'm a fan. He isn't. So
if you look at the colony and how much it's expanded over two sides and the amount of brood there, I think we outnumber what Hood would have had in his, and we're still containing them. Yeah, and it helps as well that we've got the fish, and the fish every time they drop, the fish will come up and take them, and we've got a lot of ecosystem in there.
Yeah, so it creates that balance to hopefully keep them more maintainable.
And of course, most of the time they kept 2 degrees below optimum. Okay. So the 2 lights in the tank now are never usually on, and the only sort of heat they get is from the water at 25 degrees. So all the brood is up against the glass, and that really slows them down as well, and it curbs their hunger a lot. Yeah, it's very easy to pump up the temps to keep a colony active, but then it gets a big beast, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean they can grow so fast. You just chuck in loads of protein, bring up the heat,
and of course, they're so difficult to raise. They're really hard to raise. And the only success we ever have is using substrate. If we don't have substrate, the queens don't last long.
I found the same with mine. I had to use substrate to have success with my queen.
Because they had that whole setup, and we just put the test tube down, opened it up, and the queen just went and burrowed. And from that, this whole colony's grown.
That's quite incredible.
Yeah, it's only like 10 months old, too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 11 months tops. It wasn't here last AntCon.
No, it wasn't. At first, I thought it was Hood's old colony.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah.
No, I think Sid had them, didn't he?
Yeah, Sid had them.
No, it was a fresh founding queen that went in there.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. It's nice to see a queen from founding go into a natural setup and flourish. Because there's always that nervous aspect of putting them into the natural setup. They disappear. And now you know nothing until the workers start arriving.
You have to hold your nerve too. Yeah. Because a few times, I'm watching it like a hawk, and I'm not seeing activity, and I'm thinking, geez, it's been 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and there's just nothing happening. And I was putting in food, and it doesn't look like it's being taken. But you hold your nerve. It's hard not to scoop the soil and see if you can start finding her. Yeah. But then all of a sudden one day, I put in some snaps. And there was 10 workers on it, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It was such such an emotional time. She's done it, good girl. And now, well, you've seen the beast, the trails across the branches.
I love the way that the 2 sticks come together, and it's like there's just a tiny little gap, and sometimes you'll see workers bridging the gap,
and they're climbing over each other.
Yeah. I was watching that earlier. It's quite fun to watch.
Yeah. What colony is your favourite down there?
Oh, down there. I quite like the Singularis because there was the Major or Soldier. She's just beautiful the way she looked.
In the tunnel.
Yeah. She's guarding the tunnel just on the corner. So.
Of course, that colony too. That colony started founding queen, put into a natural setup. She, the same way the Geminata, and the queen burrowed down. And I think it was about 3 months before I saw a first worker up there.
That must have been really, really nerve-wracking.
You just got to have faith. With a species just got to have faith. I said to myself, we've got 6 months and I didn't see a worker, I wouldn't. But now there's hundreds of workers in there.
It's a beautiful colony. Yeah. It really is. I mean, just for the size of the workers, sort of the way the setup is as well, it just works.
Yeah.
So,
but in the setup, because of a lot of people make the mistake thinking they're arboreal. but they're not. When colonies are found in the wild, it's in dirt. But it's always in root structures, and then they can climb the trees to get aphids and everything else.
Yeah.
So inside that setup, there's layers of wood.
Okay.
And that was built into the setup. So I tried to make it as root-like as possible under the soil, and I think that's what did them so well. Because when they started, it was like a big stick on the top.
So that's a really good tip for anyone who's thinking about replicating that. Because I know Hood's just bought a colony. He's saying it's his last attempt. I'm rooting for him because I really want to see him grow.
With it.
I think,
he really should. And if you get the root structure and build up your layers around that, you're really giving them the best start, like in the wild. But you've got to hold your nerve.
Yeah.
It's horrible, but you can kind of tease them. If you put the heat source on the side, they are going to go up to it and build their chambers by the heat source. So you will see activity.
Yeah.
But you've got to hold it.
Yeah, it's sometimes just like, fingers crossed.
It's worth it.
We'll let them go. And I think there's something special about that natural growth as well versus sort of in a nest where you can see them all the time. You have that privilege of saying, okay, yeah, they're fine, they're here. But then when you see a colony thrive from the unknown, I think
and there's still some mystery to it. So there's still some mystery. You don't know what's going on inside the nest. You're using your imagination a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating to watch. I think natural setups are a real test of an ant keeper's skills.
Yeah.
Because you can't recognise
one
the
tiny
problem.
thing wrong.
Yeah.
You haven't used the right wood. You haven't used the right substrate. Some need a sort of cocoa fibre sand mix. Some need a cocoa fibre clay mix, depending on what you want to create.
Every few months, I literally pick out soil. I put in deionised water, shake it like hell, and use the strips to test all of the chlorine and acidity and nitrates.
Oh wow! So you keep on top of all of that as well.
And it's never been wrong, but I'm paranoid that you get something out of balance in there.
It's all it takes.
In nature, you've got good mites, bad mites, you've got springtails, you've got all of these things.
Everything's balanced.
We haven't got that privilege. And, one day it's in my head that the carbon is not going to be efficient anymore, and that's all the way at the bottom. But nothing's gone wrong so far, and that colony's been there maybe 3 or 4 years now. Yeah.
So maybe there's just not enough to offset the balance, and maybe the ants are keeping enough of the health in the soil to stop it from degrading fast. So it's quite incredible when you think about it, really, the possibilities that are going on. But then again, that's what you're saying, natural setups. It's the possibilities that are magical.
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
And the visitors love them too. Nobody went into that room and was disappointed this year. And because I mixed it up as well, I guess. Everybody has an idea of what AntCon's going to look like, and every year I change something.
Yeah, it blew my mind. It blew my mind coming in, especially the Nicobrensis being piped across. I just love that.
I know, so many people come up to me and said, "Are you sure they can go that far?" I said, "You wait till we feed them." And then there's hundreds in the outworld, and that's 15 metres of tube.
Yeah.
Ants will travel for food.
They will. Some species travel quite an incredible distance. I mean, even like leaf cutters, if there's something they want, it's, I don't know, half a mile away, they'll trek.
I once read online that Mesa barbarus will travel up to 30 metres in the pursuit of food. And when I was in Portugal and I was walking, this is where I learned that trailing distances are rather questionable, because I saw a footpath and I went to walk in the footpath, but it wasn't a footpath. It was the trail of ants. It was a trail of barbarus, but they'd used the trail so much it looked like a human had walked, and it was a footpath imprinted.
It's incredible to think something so small. Actually, ants attribute to more dirt and soil being moved around than any other species or even humans.
And there was a twig over one part, and they were clearing it out, but I followed this trail 150 metres.
Wow.
So we're talking nearly 400 foot of trail this colony just went on and on and on for. And there may have been satellite nests, but I couldn't see them. For all intents and purposes, it was one straight run down the side of the marina we were in. And outside their nest there was casings of seeds galore. It was just a big mound of it. But that made me think, well, hold on, no, what am I reading? Because if I'm reading an average and they're looking at colonies that are between a year old and 10 years old, and the average is 30 meters, then I'm seriously under-providing for the ants I'm keeping.
Yeah.
I really need to increase that every single year to stick, to be as natural as possible for them. And it's worth considering, isn't it? You can make a real feature out of them.
Some species, like leafcutters or Octospinosus, they actually need to trail a long distance for their overall health.
Yeah,
so
they need that.
That distance allows them to shake off some sort of negative bacteria, allows them to clean themselves off a bit, and then when they come back, they're healthier coming into the colony, whereas otherwise the negative bacteria and stuff builds up, and they're bringing that in, and then they end up on the trash pile because they're too infected to be part of the colony. So, that can have a negative impact on the growth of your colony. I've certainly noticed that with my Octospinosus, because, well, now I've got the brilliant cubes from you, I'm going to now try to extend their setup and give them the proper walk.
Yeah, because you can really silicone those lids down. You can seal them or cement them or whatever you plan on doing.
I plan to sort of clip them just so that way I can unclip and get in. So I'm going to look at sort of like PVC clips and then just glue them on.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'll keep you posted on what I do.
Print something. You can just like acrylic cement them on, and then they clip down. And
and then that way I'm not worrying about the lids popping off. And if I need to, I can just clip it off and get in. So.
Yeah, it's like a semi-permanent solution.
So we'll see what happens. I'm interested to do the project, so I'll definitely keep you posted.
Yeah, definitely.
What I do, and we'll crack on and get more content done. Thanks to this.
Hopefully you're motivated now.
I am.
You're ready.
I've had the motivation, I just haven't had the time and the schedule. And coming here, getting to be here again, it's given me time to make content. It's given me the opportunity to make content. And that's where this last year I've really struggled on time and opportunity. And that's really all it is the time and the opportunity just hasn't been there. And again, that's why AntCon is part of my calendar year. And I will try my hardest no matter what is going on in life to be here, because it's that time and opportunity, and I need it in a way. It's as I say, this is my one holiday a year. Yeah. So it's that one place that I can come to, and it's like my people or my colony.
And that's a really important fact for anyone out there that you look at AntCon and it can be very daunting going to a new place, meeting so many new people. Please don't feel like that. AntCon is a place where you can come and talk to anyone. It's welcoming.
You can
it's
geek
friendly.
out here as max or as minimum as you want, and you'll be respected for all of it.
It is nothing to be scared of at all. And everybody is you're coming home. That's our slogan. That's what we stand for, and it really is true. Just don't be shy. Get a ticket. Even if you're on your own, you will not leave being just you. You will leave having friends.
or loads of ants. Or anything you want really from AntCon.
Absolutely.
So, well, what's your plans after AntCon now? Have you got anything big coming up?
Everyone else, this is the end of 2 great days of experience. For me, this is the end of 3 or 4 months of solid work.
Of course.
I've converted an entire building, so I think today I'm going to go and sleep. And tomorrow I start turning it back into an escape room. So for me, this fun's not over.
Yeah, a lot more work ahead of you.
I have to get it ready by Thursday. But upcoming, we'll see after I sleep. It's been months of just changing stuff and lugging things and...
Yeah, I've done lots of sort of security management for large events and even just small events, and people don't realise that build up beforehand. Even if for the 2-day event, 2-3 months of work can easily go into something like that. Preparation, planning, ordering, budgeting. It's quite incredible the amount of information that's laid out, and
of
you
course
seem to put that together so smoothly.
We
to be honest,
physically take apart an entire escape room. And then we have to turn it into the speaker rooms. Yeah. And then we physically have to undo all of that. So it is a long process.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It is time. It didn't help this year. I wanted to move the production room upstairs, and the husbandry department got moved, and Yeah.
Do you feel every year you're slightly making tweaks to your plans to sort of?
I feel every year we're running out of space more.
Yeah.
Just to run the business from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like now, you know, I really could use... What I'm missing is room for a CNC.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got nowhere to put it. And I don't know where I would put it. And yeah, that bugs me a lot. That's why I'm looking at other buildings.
So you're moving into making this now, aren't you?
Oh, we will. You will know.
I've bought one of your little...
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
You'll notice that everything has an insert, and they're threaded.
Okay.
And they're designed to... Every screw is designed to be used 1,000 times without wearing any plastic down. It's a brass thread. So, yeah, we're going to move into wooden inserts for those, for e-tong inserts, you know, for cork inserts, whatever you want. And it's going to be to this... Every nest is going to design so it can come apart 100 times and put back together with what insert you want.
That's good. So definitely focus on quality from what I'm hearing.
Well, you put it to the test. You tell me, you know.
I will.
You tell
I'll
me.
do a video on it. And
we've done our in-house testing. There's nothing gone out today that hasn't been tested for at least 4 months. And now it's time for the public to see what we can make. And obviously help us improve it.
That's the biggest thing I find. If you can take constructive criticism, you can grow.
Well, I want to make it better. And you have to take criticism to do that.
Yeah.
Like somebody today said they absolutely love it, but what they want is a secure way of having a choice of whether a nest is modular or whether it isn't.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I've got just the idea for that. We were working on it last week, so we've already foreseen this, and version 2 will be, you know, a hybrid between modularity and not.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of modular. Like, I'm always saying to Sid, give me more ports. Because depending what space I've got, I don't know which way I need to build it from. So, you know, it's the more ports, the better for me.
Yeah.
But I know other people, it's all about space and what they're working with as well, and sort of what they perceive the design of their nest to be, really. So,
yeah. Well, it's very, very constructive, and of course, everyone got the free founding chamber this year, and it's been very positive, the feedback on that. So
I was looking at them. I was highly impressed with the quality. So I'm looking forward to getting that home and checking it out, especially with my new species of ants.
Yes, of course. Brilliant.
I think I've taken up enough of your time, and I really, really do appreciate the interview. It's been really nice to sort of put that out to everyone and sort of get to know you a little bit better if they haven't been to AntCon, or if they haven't been your customer, or maybe they've just seen the brand but are curious. So, you know, hopefully they'll get to see who you are and what you've created for us, and come down and be a part of it, because that's what I really want to see.
You're too kind.
I want to see more community members come in every year. I want to see more faces I know. I want to meet more faces I don't know. I would love to see more educational talkers coming in if they have the interest to, because I think, especially for the young generation of ant keepers that are coming up, they're like little sponges, and if you can get them now, and you can get that sort of teaching into them, that education, the sort of respect for the creatures that they're caring for,
then our future has a chance, doesn't it?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the future of the hobby only grows with the new generation of keepers.
Yeah.
Because we're all a dying breed. as morbid as that sounds.
You might be.
I am. I definitely am. Like,
I got a few years in me yet.
I have too, but not as many as some of these 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds. Right. I admire them going, I wish a shop like this was around when I was your age.
Yeah.
You know, I've always had that wish, and it took to me getting to an adult, and then it's sort of opening up and the internet and stuff like that before it was accessible. So it's kind of, you know, for their age group, having it all accessible now and places like this to come to, you know, and be able to make their purchases and be introduced to the community educational speakers. I just think they've got such an incredible opportunity that can just help them grow, either individually in their own lives as in their person, confidence coming to speak to people, and within the hobby itself, confidence to keep different species of ants, confidence where they can get the information and the knowledge they need to care for the creatures that they love. And I think the combination of AntCon and what you've brought is one of the biggest opportunities for the youngest generation of ant keepers to really flourish. And I think that itself is one of the most special things about AntCon. I love speaking to all the young ones, saying, you know, talking about all the different species, the species they like, if they've had any issues, and sort of, you know, helping them through that and helping them feel a bit more confident. And I've definitely noticed over the years as they come and they look at different species, and whereas I spoke to them maybe on the first year, they were like, oh, I'm only comfortable keeping Lasius niger, and now I speak to them and they're like, oh, I've got Camponotus this, and I've got Maculatus this, and I've got this, and it's just so wonderful to see their confidence coming on, because they've had that experience and they've had that community support. And I don't feel, whilst you get community on the internet, I don't feel it's the same value as in person.
No.
And that's what this really brings to the community and the world, really. It is the world's only Ant convention, to my knowledge.
I had emails from people all over the world wishing me luck the day before. People I don't even know, just saying, oh, AntCon's this weekend, hope it goes well.
I've got a lot of friends in America who are just like, we need something like that. You know, they're people so really jealous of what we've got here,
don't they?
Yeah.
It's humbling. It's really humbling.
It really is. So I wish it just continues forever. And I love to see you grow.
As long as people keep coming.
I'll be here. So, anyway, thank you very much.
Well, Rich. Thank you very much.
I'll see you next year.
Next year.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.